So I want to start off by making a couple of disclaimers clear right off the bat. The opinions and everything that I am going to go over are strictly and 100% my own, based on my personal interactions and stuff, and seeing the accusations, which will be listed in here, the proof, the similarities of other things. I would eat my left foot if this is not true, basically. And it saddens me. It honestly breaks my heart. And for those of you who know, I only got into streaming a couple of months ago. I had already started setting up everything in July after scoping out and deciding if I wanted to do this, because I've been gaming for like 20 plus years. But I'm new to the scene in general. So a lot of it is I didn't know any better to know and recognize certain red flags. And the accusation being what it is, basically, you know, like, I'm pretty confident my model mom is a scammer. Realize that this might bite me in the ass, but honestly, I've always been very true to myself and my morals. I've been very true to you guys as my community, and I've always been very upfront about the fact that if there's one thing you can count on me, is I'm going to be honest and transparent with you. I might be blunt, I might say shit you don't like, but I'm going to be as honest with you as I physically can be, because that's important to me. Now, with that being said, I will no longer be using the previous model, based on what I found out, based on the history of how this model came to be. It is just, I'm not okay with it. And it breaks my heart, because for those of you who have known me IRL for a long time, you know how important that representation is. So for these selections of art goes to Miko. I mean, let's be honest, we all wouldn't be here without Miko. I want to make that absolutely clear. Yeah, so frankly, without her incredible work, we wouldn't be here hypothetically drooling over our art siblings for fun in the first place, or in most of the cases being bullied or teased. Hypothetically. I wanted to include a couple of our mom stuff here, because we want us all to appreciate the fact that, like, you know, we all might be related by ink in one way, shape, or form, but, like, you know, Miko's been awesome. So I want to make sure that aside from everything else, we give her the credit she deserves, you know? Okay. So as you can see, when I joined, let me back up a little bit. I found Miko, and after like looking at different artists and stuff, I came across her stuff. I liked her stuff. Her pricing seemed pretty reasonable, and I decided that I was going to invest in a model. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to do like a full-on model, full body at the same time, but I wanted to like break it down into what was affordable for me and go from there. And again, keep in mind, the pricing and everything was a big pull for me, because, you know, I have some money to work with, but I also don't have thousands of dollars to drop. And this was my first experience commissioning a model, so this was absolutely new to me. I absolutely nothing. I was a commissioning virgin, okay? Oh, you can't quite hear me in the video. So let me go back a little bit. There's not a way for me to turn up the video, but essentially I want to go over like the disclaimer. So let's go forward again. There's no audio, rather. Okay. So my husband brought this particular tweet to my attention back on like Friday night, Saturday night, something like that. I'm not 100% positive. But basically there is this, and I do definitely recommend checking them out. There is this Twitter post that started the fire in general. And this person has been trying to speak out for the last couple of days to a week or two, if I'm not mistaken, and going from there. And it just says, this will be my, and I have a few of these, so they're not entirely in order, but you'll get the idea. This will be my last public comment on this. I will now be moving to work with others in the shadows, while some will take the front image of this. All important things are under this paragraph. For anyone needing proof, the server is full of links, etc. You can find your scammer through it. As for reposting, I apologize. They were somehow getting the other links deleted every time I made it public. Here is a new link and safe, the inner workings of the company, which I have copied, so we will be breaking that down. Years of abuse, discovery of the company, and the Discord link to the link itself. And I have joined the Discord. I hesitated at first, but then I decided I can't make a full definite determination on whether or not I believe the accusations without looking at the Discord, and so I decided to do that. Zed had already checked that out first. It's in reference to their post. Since a lot of innocent Indonesian artists are suffering because of this drama, check out this list. All legit artists that work hard, please do not punish the artists because of some mafia assholes. So let me see how much further this goes in. Okay. So yeah, so like the example of this is like there's a lot of like raffle scams, which we know there's a lot of raffle scams where they'll like, oh, I got a art raffle for you guys, or I have a coupon for you guys, or you know, make sure I only have a limited number of slots, and I know that that's a very typical artist scam response. And as I had worked with Miko myself, like I made a lot of assumptions of like, okay, well, you know, maybe that's just something that a lot of artists do. But there's more. So it'll be how they talk too. Like, hi, congratulations, you received a little gift from me with a little heart emote of some kind. Your prizes are 15% discount for chibi, art, and rig, or you can claim both plus one free emote. 10% discount for 6 emotes, static or animated. 1 free animated. Number 3, 15% discount for an eye banner and free emote animated. 10% discount for character sheet, front view, side view, etc. So basically, like, they draw you in with either a raffle or, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm feeling so generous, I want to get some attention out there. And in this example, that is something that my artist has done a couple of times that I know of, and which kind of adds a tally to, okay, this is questionable, but then there's more evidence. So we're gonna go forward. Everything is like a couple of seconds here, so then we have, I'm sure you noticed, but suddenly a lot of the artists in the list suddenly posting photos of their laptop with the art. A lot never did before, and suddenly they do it. Also, for people saying they can't be scammers, they updated me all the time. The minors and abused artists literally work under them. You think they won't tell these kids to give them updates? Victims have confirmed recognizing the backgrounds of some pictures. So it's a very important art scam. I want to warn people about this and stuff. So, like, again, you'll see this in DM of mine later. When I started, I had asked, you know, like, okay, well, do you do the work? Do you stream it? Because I would love to watch it. Because I'm the kind of person, like, I want to watch something being brought to life. And it's like, no, I don't for security. I don't for personal reasons, which could be absolutely true for some artists. Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. However, more evidence is questionable. So you'll see that right now they're in kind of damage mode. And here's the thing. My artist is not the only one that's doing this. There's a big list of this. And again, I believe it. I 100% believe it. So this document was made by Zenoa. I cannot pronounce this. I apologize. I need to take a drink. Hang on a second. Please do not delete or edit any information without her permission. Now, this is the Google document that is linked on the Twitter, so you can look at this yourself if you so wish. So, company structure and roles. The organization is divided into 3 main groups: owner, admin, worker. This includes sketcher, illustrator, and rigger artist. Most of the people who provided information about the system are employees or workers. According to them, the work system operates under a very tight schedule, particularly affecting workers and low-level staff. Upper management lack of clarity. There is a significant lack of clarity from upper management, especially from individuals who do not understand illustration, rigging, or design work. Upper management primarily understands hard selling and lacks understanding of artistic processes, technical limitations, realistic production timelines. Many accounts are managed by mentors and admins. Meaning of mentor within the system, a mentor is the owner of an account. Yeah, I think I went a little bit ahead. Hold on, please. Okay. So it's the owner of the account, the public face of the account, the representatives acting on behalf of the owner. The mentor is not necessarily a teacher or a technical expert, but acts as an intermediary between management and workers. Flow of instructions operates as follows. Upper management issues instructions. Instructions are delivered first to the mentor. Mentors pass instructions down to admins and workers. The promotion structure generally follows worker, admin, owner. Rapid expansion, inexperienced admins, manipulative account management. Over the last several years, the company opened many new accounts. People were recruited with promises of high salaries and resulted in a large number of new admins. However, the admins have no experience. They do not understand illustrations, rigging, or creative production. They focus mostly on training. I'm going to pause here in a moment. Client communication, sales, and customer service responses. Admins are not trained to understand the actual workload artists must perform, the technical and time demands of art production. In addition, admins are reportedly paid and instructed to pretend to be friends with artists and clients, build emotional trust to increase compliance and productivity. Important details about account handling. Many accounts use female avatars. In reality, these accounts are often operated by men. Responses are sometimes generated using ChatGPT or similar tools. They deliberately use a cute, friendly, or comforting tone to manipulate trust. Because admins are in direct contact with victims, they can collect sketches, request step-by-step work progress, obtain files and timestamps, control the entire communication flow. This direct access allows them to easily claim ownership, pressure workers, manipulate narratives when disputes occur. Worker workload and complaints. As a result of this system, many workers raise complaints. Workers are commonly required to handle 1 to 3 projects per day or 1 complete VTuber rigging project. These workloads are frequently paired with unrealistic deadlines, threats if targets are not met. I'm going to pause for a second here. For those of you who are familiar, we're going to pause that ad. The turnaround time is like a big flag. I'm going to be honest, I did not know that at the time. When I first commissioned my model, the terms of service, which again, I will list in here for my particular artist's terms of service, it says it's like 7 to 13 days. That's insane. Okay. And again, at the time, I didn't know that. I didn't know that that was insane. But you would have weeks where the time frame for sketch to art to model. Like, I'm gonna share my particular history with my stuff, and just from start to finish, it took a month from the sketch to the color to the rigging. And the thing is if an artist was working on it by themselves, possibly that's possible. But you have artists that are working on 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 or more commissions. And my model mother is one of those who would drop commissions like fucking hotcakes. And at the time, I was like, that's so cool. She just must be very, very, very invested. You know, we didn't know that it was highly likely that she was actually a company having multiple people doing it, which would make more sense. The problem is that's not how they express themselves. They don't say, hey, I'm a company that's doing this. No. They claim to be one person doing all this work, which is already kind of a red flag. But again, I was stupid and didn't know. All right. It's bluntly honest there. Right. So, but yeah, like, I'm, again, not going to name names, but I know several people that had their commissions take maybe a month to 2 months and would drop about the same time. Like, you would have an announcement basically every couple of days where this model was done and this model was done and this model was done. And it's plausible that you might have had a backload depending on how long it is. But like, if you don't know how long that person's been waiting, you don't have any way of knowing. I myself am coming forward like, it was a fucking month. There's no way somebody could come up with that much work that quickly for one person on top of multiple people. Right, right, exactly. And like, I know that it's not my fault for knowing. Like, in its own way, like, I'm a victim too, but I don't see myself as a victim. I'm pissed off for the artists. I'm 100% pissed off for the artists, because I also acknowledge that, like, the money that I put into this, I'm not going to see again. I understand that, but that's not the point. The point is like, I had this character, this creation of mine that was important to me for personal reasons, and I can't use her in good faith because of how she came about. So when I made my temporary model, I still borrowed aspects of that character, because the bird crone is mine. The look that was created might belong to that quote unquote studio, and that's fine. But who I am as a person, this bitch that don't care and will cause shit if that means that's what's in the right thing to do, that's me. And for those of you who have known me for years, and for those of you who have known me IRL for years, you know this is how I be. If I have a problem with something, and something that is, you know, morally not okay, once I get my shit together, I'm like, no, this is not okay. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Worker loading complaints, we've already gone over there. Use of personal data and account control. Workers are required to use personal data to operate company accounts. They must meet strict performance targets within very short time frames. If they fail, they may be terminated. Their accounts may be taken over. When accounts are taken over, all access is seized, including PayPal accounts, linked local bank accounts. If personal accounts are no longer usable, workers may be instructed to use family members or relatives' personal data. For underage workers, procedures are unclear. It is reported that underage individuals are lent accounts to manage. Threats, gaslighting, and intimidation. Workers report systematic intimidation, including threats of doxing, gaslighting. Workers are told abuse is normal. Concerns are dismissed as incompetence or attitude problems. Direct and indirect threats, termination, account seizure, reputation destruction. Workers are also told or led to believe that the company has connections to Indonesia state institutions. As a result, artists fear reporting abuse. Most artists have no financial resources. They cannot afford legal defenses. They feel unable to protect themselves from corrupt, biased legal procedures. Restrictions on workers. Workers face strict controls. Some are forbidden from taking any private commissions. Continuing education, including university, is mocked. Management states education is unimportant because they don't want you to be educated. They want you to be uneducated because it's easier to manipulate you. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And it's horrendous. And I haven't even gotten into how my artists respond, like how my artist is how my artist is linked to this. And I will, I promise. Workers are treated as equally replaceable. The subordinate to management authority. Location and wage strategy. Many operations are based in Semarang because wages are significantly lower than in Jakarta or Bandung. The company has expanded to nearby cities, including the same wage reduction strategy. Age gap between management and workers. There's a clear age imbalance. Owners are around 40 years old. Artists and workers mostly in their early 20s or teenagers. Education structure, they get 1 year of schooling, 2 years of project-based learning. The main project involved growing an account under JRU. Internship, underage workers, and minors. Serious concerns involving minors have been reported. Some victims report being as young as 14 years old. Interns as young as 16 years old. Worked hours similar to full-time staff were paid approximately 20 hours. And this is the other thing. There's also been some other information that they are as young as 13. And we haven't even touched the not safe for work stuff. We're about to. Additionally, many minors were forced or pressured to produce not safe for work artwork. Refusal often resulted in threats, punishment, account takeover, or termination. These minors had no legal protection, had no ability to safely refuse, and were dependent on the system. Revenue distribution and wage disparity, which we will get into in just a second. But I'm an adult, okay? Eventually, I wanted to have not safe for work-esque art for my character because that's stuff that I like. That's fine. But if I had done art commissions of that, even if they're like softcore suggestive, I would be horrified to find out that some 13-year-old is being forced against their will to draw naked titties, okay? And I'm trying to lighten this because it's a serious thing. And like, this is just the accusation tip top. Like, we haven't, like, I'm trying to give it the brevity or the importance that it deserves. But yeah, so like the artist is like an art sweatshop company, also not your fault, not died. Yeah, so essentially there are people that, you know, I'm pretty sure it goes into it more. But the idea is like, they'll have artists that they are abusing to get as much art as quickly as possible, because the more products you have, the more you can sell. That doesn't even go into the reselling issue that is also addressed as well. So revenue distribution and wage disparity. There's an extreme imbalance between company revenue and artist compensation. One brand reportedly earned in USD $10,000 in a single month. Artists received only about $100. Another brand reportedly earned $1.5 billion per month. Artists received only $1.5 million per month. This shows systematic profit extraction from artists. Basically, they're financially taking abuse of them just as much as, you know, everything else, which is also not okay. Like, just because you're administering something and you're the admin does not mean that you are the person putting in all the fucking work. And that itself is fucking horrendous. Misuse and resale of client models. There are reports of unauthorized resale of models. Models submitted for rigging. If a model is considered high quality, it may be secretly resold, often into the Asian markets. This is more likely when the original owner lacks legal backing, there is no strong contract or enforcement, original creators are not informed, nor receive compensation, lose control of their intellectual property. Evidence, screenshots, and verification. Recently, the company has attempted to prove legitimacy by posting screenshots. These screenshots are presented as evidence of real operations. However, other victims have confirmed that the screenshots show the actual workplace of the Black company. The environments, tools, and workflows match those used internally. Because admins are in direct contact with victims, they can easily obtain sketches, progress steps, work in progress images. This allows them to fabricate legitimacy, control narratives, discredit victims who speak out. Note, and this more of the document, we're almost done with the document. We are currently in the works of getting a fully updated list of all the accounts. There is a lot of information to go through, and it is going to take a little time. There is a group of us helping out to get everything done while still working our jobs and doing things offline. Please be patient. If you have any questions or would like to ask about a certain quote artist, feel free to join the Discord. And this was last updated on January 23rd of this year. Made this document helps to get all the information in one location to keep things updated as much as possible. There is a ton of information to go over and look at. I suggest you take the time to look into it yourself. Use the Discord for any questions, comments, or concerns. Please note that this list of artists does not start with Zenobia, but years before. A lot of information found inside the Discord is information shared with Zenoa from people who previously worked at these companies and are afraid of being doxxed or threatened. It is difficult and unsafe for all the information to be made public. For now, some accounts cannot be verified with hard proof. If you are an artist that made it onto the list and feel like you don't belong there, feel free to reach out. You may be asked for proof, especially if a former employee or a past coworker claims otherwise. If you are here as a buyer wondering why your quote artist was placed on this list, this is not about you, the buyer, getting scammed. You got your commissions that you paid for. The scam that is being spoken of is about the artists themselves. These Black company accounts are ran by a manager, not the artist. In most cases, multiple accounts are working on your commission, line arts, coloring, rigging, etc. These artists are underpaid and overworked, some not even getting paid more than 5% of the piece of commission, required to do multiple pieces daily and getting paid monthly. In these cases, there are minors being forced to draw not safe for work content as young as 14, and in some cases apparently 13. There have also been reports that sometimes these companies resell rigged models on artist sites in other countries. Important links with context. How these companies work, the call-out tweet, the tweet about companies, Min's tweet, some proof with translation, Laura's tweet, QPBT's tweet, Amara Nerilaus VGen's response. Other lists include list of broker studio VGen scans from Indonesia, Illustrator job openings, screenshots of accounts, more screenshots of accounts, Google form to submit evidence, confirmed studio, a black company, aka Jeru, include. And I'm going to go over this in a minute. And before I do, I'm not going to click on the link of every single one of these because I've already looked at this. Like I said, you can, honestly, I encourage people to do their own research and to look at this stuff. If you decide not to, that's your priority. But if you want the truth and you want to be able to make a educated decision, I fucking encourage you to check out the Discord. And we've got an ad starting in 3 minutes, so we're gonna pause after the ad here. But these include Omar Studio, Patu Studio, Alfio Studio, confirmed accounts. Oops, let's go back one. Hold on. Confirmed accounts with micro studios owned by JR Hub include Sangwon, Oma, a whole bunch of stuff I can't say because I'm bad at translating, but you can see the list here in front of you. You can see all these people here, and under which we see Rumiha, this one, under accounts MikoZen. Now, all right, so an ending note about this particular document. Please remember that the people working on this are doing it in their free time. We are not here to accuse real artists, not apart from these companies. Mistakes happen, but remember the admins of these pages will do everything to tell you they are real people. The real artists working under commissions. You must take the time to look into things yourself or ask someone to point you in the direction where this information can be found. No one deserves to be treated like a slave. These artists deserve to be credited and paid. This person, Friendly Neighborhood Artists, definitely go check out their video. It's called VGen's Art Scam, Exposing Black Companies That Exploit Minors and Artists. So she goes over the documents and stuff, and then later on into the video, I don't think it's got a time mark on it. She goes over the broker VGen accounts and what they look like, and these are examples of the stuff that they have. Now I'm gonna basically just, you guys can pause, and when you watch the video later, when you watch the later. But essentially, like, this is the similarities of what you'll see. You'll see a lot of the same stuff that they'll just do. They also make their artists sign a non-disclosure agreement. So I had to pause the video for a second. And the non-disclosure agreement basically prevents these artists from speaking up, owning their own stuff, essentially. So it says, this document is prepared for the approval of both parties and includes the following terms. Demonized, okay. I don't know if they mean the title of the company or if they mean, like, demonetized. I don't know. Commissions to UPS to provide sketch services based on demonized concept with full copyright ownership belonging to demonized. I'm just going to refer to it as demon because let's be honest. UPS agrees not to share character concepts, artwork, or material related to Demon's concept on social media and may not use that as part of their portfolio. The agreed upon work deadline must be adhered to. The commission will include source files as discussed and agreed upon in the pricing. UPS may not claim credit for the artwork for personal or professional gain. The agreement signed by both parties on January 22nd, 2025 signifies a mutual consent to the terms, ensuring no disputes arise after the order is completed. Now, this might seem like a normal non-disclosure agreement. However, when you take into concept, what this means is that you're going to be doing art for us and you don't own your own art. That's essentially what this non-disclosure agreement is about. And here's the thing. Birdcrone didn't sign no agreement, so I'm going to say what I need to say. So the thing is that this is an agreement basically saying that, like, what you work belongs to us, the company. So again, they even got Iron Mouse. So you'll see a lot of these popular eye banners and the logos and the chibi emotes and the bongo emotes, and they're all the same thing over and over and over. So you'll have like 6, 7, 8 artists that are basically having the same quote unquote special, the same quote unquote thing, and the style is almost exactly the same. That's a red flag I didn't know about because I didn't know any better. But so Iron Mouse is mentioned here because she had one and then she removed it, and she didn't, to my knowledge, this could be wrong as of the streaming, I don't know, but to my knowledge she didn't say anything. She just quietly removed it, which, okay, that's okay, you do you, boo. But like, yeah, but like the point is like they can literally get anybody because it's that tricky, you know. So then like we're going over just some examples here of like the common practices and stuff. So you see whatever your character here that is popular for that season, and then they'll delete the prior one. So you'll see like at this time it was Valentine's Day, so you're seeing a lot of Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve stuff. But then they'll also have the eye banners. They'll also have the same stuff that is significantly discounted and stuff. And then, you know, the older stuff, the Easter stuff, excuse me, I'm trying to say July stuff, and I mean Independence Day stuff. The 4th of July stuff, that stuff like that, it'll be removed from their BGen because that's not popular anymore. And yeah, my model mom did the same thing, so that's sus. All right, so this is one of the examples of the review, and this is a review that like I'm gonna explain here in a minute. So, could hardly follow the details of the character's reference, had to ask for a lot of the same revisions even though I mentioned it had changed. Gave my characters a huge chest, meanwhile on the reference she has a muscular flat chest. I'm still finding mistakes even now after receiving the piece. Mistakes that could have been avoided if the reference image I sent of the character was followed correctly. When I asked to see the talk version of her idol, they told me I never asked for another expression. Meanwhile, idol and talk is what I ordered, and this was also stated in their includes section, 1/2 body character plus talk expression. The expression I asked, the expression I asked for was to be cocky, so that the character's personality when they changed the talk to be cocky expression. Meanwhile, that is not what I asked for. Talking is not an expression, it's an action the character does. They tried to say I had to pay extra for an extra expression, which would have been 35 plus for an additional expression, which was a discount for me, as originally it was $40 plus. This is a complete ripoff, and on their info sheet it said any additional expressions is $20 plus. Eventually I did get it included, but the anatomy looks off. The upper lip is almost touching the nose. I'm waiting for it to load through. I also have a feeling there's a huge language barrier. Honestly, it's not worth the money I spent on this, as I still can't use it due to the mistakes on it. Overall, I do not recommend their PNG tuber services. So here's the thing. Yes, there's going to be a language barrier, but a language barrier is not an excuse for blatantly ignoring what your client is asking for. I had this happen for myself, and when we go into my DMs at the end here, you'll be able to see I had to make changes multiple times because what I asked for was not actually what I was given. And I know other people have also had complaints where like what they got, like they basically just settled because it was just easier. Now, I don't have the full response of BGen's response, but they did reach out to BGen, and unsurprisingly, BGen was not very helpful. Essentially, the argument with BGen is, well, you paid for something and you got it. Like that's not the point. That's not the point. We as clients can refuse to work with those people going forward, but that doesn't solve the problem of them having that traction, because they have people who don't know, people who are still buying because they think it's a legitimate service and they think it's a legitimate artist, and it's not. And it's unfortunate because there needs to be more spotlights on that, which is kind of why I decided to make a video on it, because my feelings on it is like, there needs to be more people speaking out. And the thing is like, I'm going to be bluntly honest. I am too small and too too unknown of a personality for people to give two shits about, except for in my own community. But I'm still one of those people who was also affected, and I also know people who were also affected. And based on what I have discovered and what I have seen, I hope more people will come out. I hope more people will speak out. I don't really know if anything will be done about it, but I know that, you know, what I was as, how do I want to put this? What I saw myself as for that character is gone, because I can't go back to that. So VGen, unsurprisingly, not very helpful. All right, so this is essentially my statement on the situation. There's like a two-part of it, and I removed people's names and stuff. So essentially, like, I was having a conversation with some people about this, because this is a big deal for us anyway, because we are involved in the community of that. So this is my statement and my feelings on this. I will say I 100% disagree with, it's not about how much or how little they make being the artists off their own work. To me, it's a fact that there are these, quote, broker people that are basically claiming to do all the work themselves, and while in actuality they are basically the front of a black company that exploits artists. But for us, paying for stuff from them, it perpetuates the cycle, and basically as long as there are people to, quote, buy the product, this behavior will continue because they are making money off the suffering of artists, and I'm not morally okay with that. The insanely fast turnaround for several commissions at once, the inconsistency of what is commissioned and what comes out, as in there are a lot of clear evidence that reference sheets aren't followed and multiple mistakes are made in production, and other such excuses that are expressively damaging, and any doubt I had was removed by seeing the evidence, seeing the similarities, seeing how she, being Miko, talks, and the stuff that just makes me 100% believe this evidence against her is true and damning without question. And on what one of my siblings said, they have presented themselves to me from the beginning as a solo artist. I have no doubt they've been lying to us from the start, and the fact that they are going into PR mode and immediately messaging us to try and see how deep they are in. The rabbit hole I ventured into over the last 2 days is fucking bad, guys. Besides, it's not about, quote, are they a team, because it's pretty obvious they are. It's a fact that they exploit artists and child labor concerns to be able to crank out so many pieces in such an insanely fast turnaround. Most artists can take weeks on a single piece, but you expect me to believe one person can do a model from sketch to art to rigging in less than a month, for several commissions going on at the same time. I know for a fact several of our fellow siblings were commissioned, done about the same time. That's highly alarming and adds to the credence of what's being accused. Like, legit, I spent an hour saving my entire DM history from her after we started talking about the last commission I got from her. If she isn't a scammer, I'd eat my left foot, kind of sure. Besides, we have to consider that given this evidence, quote, their side is of course going to lie because their financial livelihood is on the line. I agree with my sibling. I do not trust her. I have seen the evidence for myself, and I have made the determination that these allegations, at least for me, are enough that I'm not comfortable using my model anymore. Not with what I know now, and I am going to be using a different model going forward and not commission them anymore and not recommend them anymore. And we have to decide as a whole how we approach the community side of this, because the community, its whole identity is tied to Miko and the fact that we are her art kids. But in actuality, to me, it feels like she is a verified scammer and we are just a few of her several scammed victims. That doesn't mean it's our fault for not knowing, but now that we know, I personally do not feel comfortable having our community be based on that lie. For me, either I think we should remove her and consider a reband, or honestly, I am just not comfortable with being a part of a community that is basically inadvertently glazing a scammer. Which I'm waiting for the next piece. Okay. So here's when we get to my personal interactions with it. But yeah, so that's it's important to me to express the fact that I want to make it clear that this is my feelings on things. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I'm not going to say, well, so and so did this or so and so said this. It doesn't fucking matter. I am 100% and strictly saying this is what I these are the accusations. This is what has given as far as the proof, and then this is my personal interactions with it. So as you can see in this next clip here, I am one of the showcased art kids, basically. Let's see, is Miko even a real person, or is this just an amalgam of artists forced to work for this company? I think the consensus, at least for what I believe, I think that Miko is not a person. I think Miko is somebody who, how do I want to word this? I think it's the broker. I think Miko is the broker who basically has a bunch of artists working under them, and they're the face of this quote unquote company. I don't think that she or he or whoever is the only one, but based on what I've seen here, I do not believe that they are doing their own work. I do not believe that they are innocent in this. I 100% believe that this is a verified artist as part of the scam list. And the thing is like, you know, if I'm wrong and provide me proof, awesome, fantastic. But given what I've seen, I don't really think so. And I know for a fact, the funny thing is, I know for a fact, once some of my siblings realize I've been streaming about this and making a video about this, I'm quite sure there's going to be some discussion. But I've also had that discussion beforehand. I've already talked to one of the moderators in the community about it and my feelings on it. And I'm making it clear that like what I'm expressing is from my example alone. But the problem is there is a full-on community that I was a part of that is basically her kids. And not everybody in the community joined. Like if you had, let's say, 20 people that were that had commissioned her, and maybe 10 of them joined the community, there are still several other people who are out there who are not in the community, who are also in the same boat. They may or may not just know it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, there are also plenty of my siblings who might be in the dark about this, which is kind of why I decided to put together a full-on fucking slideshow of this, you know? And the thing is like, I'll be the bad guy. I don't have a problem with that. I'm too old to give a shit, honestly. But also like, I'm not gonna be quiet either. It's not okay. It's not okay. Like, and here's the thing. If this turns out to be absolutely not true, I 100% will be like, okay, you know what? I pulled the trigger too fast. I was wrong. However, based on my best knowledge, I believe it. I believe the accusations. I think that they're a broker. And we're about to dive into why I have credence to those feelings. All right. I'm so sad about this. I'm so disappointed. I definitely had those feelings. And I know some people that I've talked to that are in those feelings right now. And my heart goes out to them. Because like, this entire community was built on trust, and that trust has been shattered. And I'm very much a believer of like, you can't just hope a problem goes away. I'm gonna rip the wound open so we can heal, kind of thing. That's how I am. And 100%, I'm quite sure there are gonna be some people that are like, what the fuck are you doing, Rage? I'm being true to myself. You know what I mean? So that being said, let me go back. Trying to like keep track of things so I don't get distracted. I get distracted easily, you know? All right. So as you can see here, everything going forward here are basically my interactions with her. And so as you can see, I was one of the showcase siblings, because, you know, I had such high praise because I loved, and that's the thing, I love the model. The model's fantastic, but the artists behind it deserve the actual praise. And I do not think that Miko is the actual artist behind it. And it's it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. But like, given everything I've seen and given like the interactions and stuff, I'm like, why did I not know? But yeah, so you can see here, like, I've commissioned her a lot. And I'm going to keep referring to her as her because I know that she might not actually be a her, but it doesn't fucking matter, this particular person, you know? I have commissioned this person several times. And this is not even all the times I commissioned them. This is all but one, essentially. And I blurred out the, there is a particular artist that is my fan artist that is verified, that is not a scammer. And I am in no way, shape, or form planning on having them have to go through the rigmarole and the sludge of this. So I have blurred out their information because I wish to protect that artist's identity and make sure that that artist is taken care of, because I'm probably going to be going with a lot of her work in the future, because I am going to have to do a whole new rebrand with this new character and the new models and blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, but everything else here I have done with changes to my initial model, because there was always something that I had to fix and I would have to pay to have it fixed, because what I asked for was not actually what I got, or what I asked for was not 100% what was presented. Like, I would have to be like, okay, so seeing it in movement, this is not what I want, and I'd have to pay to make changes, even though I'd already discussed those changes before the model was finished. That kind of thing, which we will go into. So then, again, I'm blurring a lot of like my other siblings and stuff because I want to make sure that they are protected. But as you can see, she does the same shit. She 100% does the same shit. And it's troubling. It's 100% troubling. And I'm also glad that I copied these beforehand, because they are notorious for scrubbing the evidence as soon as the flags go up. And that's not going to happen. So you'll also see there's a loyalty card, which is something that they apparently also do. But yeah, so we have a loyalty card, you guys, she said sarcastically. Want some sweet perks just for you? Just for being you? Our loyalty card is like a magic key to unlock special treats and say a huge thank you for coming back. We absolutely adore our amazing returning customers and want to sprinkle a little extra joy in their every visit. Here's how to collect your goodies. You get a lovely stamp for every order that's at least $100. Collect 3 stamps and snag a totally free chibi emote. Yay! And when you reach 6 stamps, you'll get a super cute free chibi illustration. This is bullshit, by the way, you guys. This is the cute wording that they're trying to be like, oh, you know, I'm so appreciative of all the money that you're giving us for all these commissions and stuff. You know, like this, the way that they talk to their clients to present themselves as like this sweet and kind and, you know, generous person who's not real. This is Chat GPT fake acting. This is them putting like, you know, how to get people to believe them. And this by itself might be something that I'd be like, maybe, but it's not the only thing. You know, your girl has more receipts. So it's our warm, fuzzy way of showing how much we appreciate your continued trust and support. To get your card and start collecting, just send us a DM on Discord. We'll send your card right over in DMs. Come join our cozy loyalty program today and start turning your visits into delightful rewards. So these are her terms of service, and I'm not going to pause during it. You can pretty much, actually that is important. You can pretty much read a good chunk of this, and assuming that she doesn't like rebrand, depending on how much fire gets lit under her because the Phoenix is causing trouble. Yeah, so don't be surprised if like you see this, and it'll be the same thing over and over. Like these broker artists, these brokers, will use the same wording because they're basically the same company doing the same shit. So you'll there's like no refunds after the sketch stage. 3 free revisions on each stage: sketch, line art, base color, finishing. You can't do any major revisions after you approve the sketch. Use commissioned works can be used for streaming activities, commercial use. Any kind of reselling activities are prohibited, which is funny to me, because of course they want you to not be able to resell, because they want to have the rights to resell your stuff. So like, if you have a unique model and it's very popular and people like it, well, why not try and see if other people want to buy it in other countries? Because surely the internet is not connected and able to see those things, you know? And again, I'm still insanely new, so like my particular stuff has not been out but for a couple of months. So like, that's this isn't about that. It's about the fact that like this is a known practice that they do. So here we go. Here's a big red flag here. Deadlines and deliveries. The turnaround time for model art is 14 to 30 days, depending on the complexity. Turnaround time for model rig is 7 to 14 days, depending on the complexity. Any add-ons or toggles can add more time to the turnaround time. Do not resell the model. Results can be credited back. Use ISO, blah, blah, blah. And then you have like the breakdown of the prices, and the prices are, you know, they're too good to be true, because you're like, okay, well, I mean, I can spend $200 for something like that. That's a great deal. That's a great deal because it's a scam. And it's not a scam to you, the person who is getting it. No, it's a scam to the people who are actually making it for you. And if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. But I'm not okay with that. At this particular point, a couple of days ago, a couple weeks ago, something like that, she was claiming that like she had been hacked and that somebody was posing as her, and it's this particular guy, which, let me see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. So it says, "Hi everyone. It's been a while since my last announcement, but I think this one is important. There's someone trying to impersonate me, so please be careful of potential scams. I have one Discord account and I've been using here, and I will never DM first asking for payment or personal information. If you're unsure, please double check or feel free to reach out to me through other social media accounts, which are," and then there's that listed. And then what we have here is this duplicate account where it's a dude. And again, it's something that's like, could be true, but the way it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. And again, this by itself would not be, it'd be like, no, that somebody's pretending to be this person, except, you know, remember, since the same time frame, and the same way that they interact with with people and stuff. So let me go back to we're about to get into my screenshots, which will have more information here in a moment. Again, I apologize about the scuff here, you guys. Like that. Have to resize it back to normal. Okay. Okay. So here's the issue about the server that I keep mentioning. When and you'll see this in the DMs with me and her, when I started commissioning with her, I, again, never done VTubing, never been in the sphere. I didn't really know anybody, and you know, that's new, that's expected. And she had told me about, like, well, there's this community of other siblings, and there are people who have all had her as their model mom, essentially. And it's a community that's brought together for that, which, you know, was fantastic. And here's the thing. The community is not to fault for this. This is not the community's fault. And this was not even made, the community wasn't even made by Miko. The community was made by someone else, and it was someone else who wanted, I suppose, to give credit to Miko, because given back then, you know, it was like, it was an artist that was doing amazing, and like we liked the way that like we interacted with this person, this quote unquote her, and so like this is the part that kind of makes me sad, because I have made some amazing friends because of this community, and I would not trade that for the world. But fuck the shit that got us here, okay? And like, I'm gonna maximize this so we can see exactly hello mouse. Hold on, my mouse is on the wrong thing. Here we go. I'm gonna make this bigger. Okay. So I'm not going to share, this is the name of the bot, but I'm not going to share the name of the community because, like, I'm not okay with doing that. I'm not going to share, no, no, not new model. Oh, moon. But this is the name of the community. Or, I'm sorry, this is the name of the bot for the community. I'm not going to name the community because it's still kind of fresh and new. But this is why it was important to me. So, welcome to the Sibling Network, a place where chaos meets comfort, the home of MikoZen siblings, friends, and stream partners. Here, creators, streamers, and community members come together to plan collaboration, share ideas, and enjoy each other's company. This is more than just a Discord server. It's a connected network built around trust, creativity, and fun. And that's kind of like the biggest thing that upset me is the trust, because my trust has been broken. Whether you're a longtime sibling, a new friend, or a collab partner, you'll find your place here. Who can join? Any siblings of MikoZen, friends of siblings, and collab partners of siblings are welcome here. Over time, we might open the doors to more people, but only time will tell. At its core, this server exists so siblings can plan and collaborate on streams, hang out, and have fun together. We also host dedicated 24/7 game servers for streaming events and community play. If you want a game server set up or need access, just open a support ticket in the support request channel, and our game server administrator will review your request and set it up for you. And so then we have the members, we have the sibling friends, we have the collab partners, we have the breakdown of everything here. And again, when I go through the video, you can pause it later. So yeah, but yeah, so we have the bot. Now I'm gonna pause here for it to explain for a second here. You have the bot that is like the announcement bot or whatever, and then you have Miko, and Miko is not the owner of the Discord, but she's basically the top tier of, like, we are all her kids. It's a little hard discussing this part of it because, like, it's personal and it's upsetting, you know, but I'm doing my best here, so apologies. But everyone that you see, and I blurred everybody. I went and looked at the members. There's like 63 members in this Discord itself. And I blurred all of the people except Miko and the bot because fuck that. But I did want to make sure to protect everybody else to the best of my ability. Because it's not my place to say, oh well, this person is in the community. This, like, that's not what this is about. But everyone that's marked blue there is a child, an art child. We had a term for it, and I'm gonna do my best not to use the term because I'm trying not to be too identifiable, you know, in that way. But every one of these pages that you see here now that are blue, those were people that were commissioned, essentially. And you can see how fucking massive this is. I'm giving it a minute. Okay. So there's a lot, obviously. So, but yeah, so we have her Discord profile here. Where it says the same thing. I'm an expert in creating anime art, like live 2 model, chibi emotes, FP, VTuber logo, etc. There's her link to her studio, which is the quote-unquote studio. Now keep in mind, when she first interacted with people, you know, this was just the name of her art stuff, but like, she presented herself, and I keep saying she presented herself as being one artist that was doing it all. And then as this stuff has been starting to blow up, it's been, oh, well, I have other people working under me. You already lied once. Like, anything you say, I cannot take any faith in. And for me, I can forgive a lie. I can't forgive a liar. That's something that, like, mistakes are human, and I get that, but based on what you're gonna see here, I have very solid feelings of the fact that like this is not not okay. But we're gonna continue to let that go through. So here, I'm gonna, so essentially you can see in the interactions with her, I'm letting it basically just play through, I think now. Yeah. So you can see the history of how she and I have talked together. And I'm going to pause it when we get to my actual commission and stuff. But we were talking for like a month before I put together, I'm going to go back a second there. Hold on. Is it here? Okay. So I went back for a second. We had been talking for about a month about what I wanted to do, because I'm very much somebody who will plan meticulously for everything. And if I have a goal in mind for something, I need to have an idea of how much I'm going to be spending and then plan accordingly, because that's just how I am. So I knew I wanted to do it in advance, and I knew it wasn't going to be immediate, but I wanted to kind of scout out my artists first. And from the beginning, you can see how she talks is exactly how the brokers talk. Hi, how are you? Like all this cutesy, like feminine presenting kind of put your guard down kind of stuff. And again, this was my first experience with commissioning a model, so I did not fucking know shit. And I still don't know everything, absolutely, but I'm a lot more educated now 6 months later than I was back then. But you'll see how they talk, and it's the exact same fucking way. So like you'll see more, but seeing how the mannerisms are 100% the same. The fact that like I had asked at one point, which you'll see later on, I had asked about like, well, can I see the progress and stuff? And they're like, oh no, we can't do, which is, you know, why, you know? And then like a couple of times they'll throw in the, oh, I'm doing a sale. Oh, I'm doing a raffle. Oh, I'm doing all these things that they do too. Okay. And again, I am kind of just throwing myself out there because this is only my interaction with her. So then we get into talking about my actual commission and making plans and everything here. Right. And so I'm looking for, okay, so then she's talking about the turnaround time for the model. Oh, hold on, we need to go back to this. So she's talking about the turnaround time for the model is 9 to 13 days. Prices may vary depending on complexity of the model. So I had asked, and I said, the email I got said it would be estimated to be done by 9/22, but 9 to 13 business days would make it 9/12 or 9/15, the longest I thought. I was a little confused why it was going to take 30 days instead of the 15, because she had, in all the previous conversations, she had basically told me it would take 2 weeks. And again, I'm fucking stupid. I didn't realize that, like, no, there was no way in how that was going to happen. But I didn't know any better. I was going based on the information that was given to me, and the information that I was given to me was bad. But again, did not know. But then when I eventually set up for the invoice and put in the request, which again, the first one does not show, and I don't know why, but it doesn't show up on BGen, so like I don't have it on that list. But this is the very first interaction of our sale and our plans and our commissions and everything, and you can just see like the habit of how they talk. And then anytime like I have questions or changes and stuff, like you'll just see the constant back and forth. And like that could be normal for most stuff, but the things that come out, like when I ask for something and then it's not what I was at, you'll see what I mean. I will try to clarify that a little bit. Hi, definitely when I join voice chat. Oh god, I'm just a bot. Just I've been lying this whole time. But yeah, so then you'll see a lot of like the same like little chibi smiley emotes and stuff, you know? And then, so then you will see Okay, so here's our first sketch of the model. So this is a couple of days later. Okay, let me go back here. We were talking about paying for the model on the 22nd of August. Okay, and 3 days later, she has a sketch from the model, which super fast. I did not expect it would be that fast. And again, didn't know that that's unusual. So she sends that, she goes, hi, I have a sketch update for your model. Hi. Hi, guys. Hi. You could like take a shot for how many times you see hi. And like, if this was something that like, is not a pattern in the other DMs that I've seen for other brokers doing the same thing, it's it's questionable. Is it awesome? Let me see. So then we have the first bust up sketch. Now, I had oh, you know what? This is still also too big because I forgot that I didn't summarize that down. So give me a second. Let me fix that. Okay. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so we have like the first sketch here. Now I sent over the PDF, which there'll be some screenshots of what the PDF is. I don't think I included the PDF in here, which I'm kind of upset that I didn't. But I broke down, I don't think I might have access to it. Hold on, because I feel like that might be important. Give me a second. We're gonna go all in. Okay, I do have it. All right, so we're going to switch over to this real quick. Now, if this works properly, you should be able to see. Yes, okay. So my original character concept is, you can see everything pretty like written out, right? So we have the age range, MILF, because let's be honest, that's what we were going with. 30 to 35 years old in appearance. Dark red hair with orange and gold highlights, styled in a very high ponytail, side swept bangs on one side, ponytail hair long and wavy, at least mid-back or longer, and framed around the figure somewhat. So you can see, let me go back over here. You can see I even include examples of what I'm talking about. And so I have pictures 1, 2, 3, color approximately, 4 is essentially the style. I said hair, vibrant red with burnt orange highlights, think fire colors, worn in a high ponytail at the top crown of the head, hair accessories, delicate and gold. Eyes, iris, golden, yellow / amber, yellow eyes, eye color, look, and approximate. So I'm like, it was pretty detailed in my character concept. Like, it was pretty obvious, like, I kind of had an idea in mind. So then we have traits. Phoenix wings made of fire itself or feathers on fire. Reds, golds, burnt oranges, dark yellows. That's not actually what I got. Like, the model I'm using now, because I made it myself, has the color variation, but you'll see what I mean when you see like the finished product here. So yeah, this is all character stuff that was included. Outfit details: crimson and gold colors, halter top like bust. Outfit doesn't interfere with wings, meaning can see wings behind the outfit, if that makes sense. And I have a couple examples of different outfits. And then I have Phoenix personality is bold, confident, and a bit flirty, and would wear outfits to show off her ample bosom without being distasteful. She's hot both literally and physically, and she knows it. So yeah, I'm a dork, that's fine, whatever. However, let me go back to the video here. However, the character concept was pretty on par for what I wanted, you know, and over time I eventually kept tweaking it and tweaking it. But it still follows the same pattern of abuse that we've seen from the other artists. So yeah, so we have the bust here. Again, only a couple of days later do we have the sketch. And then we have we're gonna continue. So again, I'm like, it looks awesome because, you know, it did. I liked it. I did. I don't have a problem with the art. This is not about the art. This is about the shadiness of the art practices. I want to make that absolutely clear. Man Crazy Rage gave them everything they needed to AI generate it, and they still exploited artists. Touche, Lava, touche. So you'll see, like, you know, she'll have like these little, you know, cutesy emotes of interacting, and again, this is like only a month into interacting with this particular artist. You know, they're being buddy and they're being friendly, and, you know, yeah, you want to have a good relationship with your clients and stuff, but like, given what we know of the evidence of the other stuff, follows the pattern, and that's what's alarming to me. So then we'll see this, and then I talk about, I did have some changes that I wanted to do. The original sketch, if I can go back, the original sketch had the horns really, really big, and I didn't want them that big. I didn't want them taking up half the head size. So I had requested to make the horns smaller and to make the wings smaller, which is what you'll see here, and to add the dangly bits to the necklace and stuff, right? So I also gave a visual of what the original sketch had for the wings, for example, and then what the smaller wings were. So a lot of this was just like me being very particular about, like, okay, well, some minor changes here and there. There weren't like major design stuff. It was more about sizing for like the ratio of what I wanted. Because, you know, I'm paying money for this thing. I'd like it to be something that I want it to be the way I want it to be, you know? So we have this, excuse me. So then we have the full sketch here. Now I'm going to pull up the full sketch here so you can see. Again, this is, when was this? Here's the revised sketch update. This was basically the same day, if not within 24 hours of the revised sketch, which, if there were a single artist doing it by themselves, yeah, I would agree, like, that's really fast, but like, questionable. Apologies, I'm trying to like maximize this so you guys can actually see the details here. So we have another ad starting here soon. So we have, you know, the full, this is not very good quality. I apologize about this. But like, I have like the actual pictures and stuff. This is just to show you guys, but like, we have like the full details of everything here. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it looked fantastic. I was so excited about it. I still am. I'm just brokenhearted that like the shady practices that brought this to life, like, I don't feel comfortable associating with that character because of what I've learned. And that's upsetting, because like, that character is super important to me, and people who know my IRL history understand why. But yeah, so we're about to have an ad here, so we're going to continue through here, and I want to see how far I can get before the ad picks up. Okay, so we're still so this is when I was asking about, like, oh, well, can I see the, like, do you stream it? Because I see you have YouTube, and I see all this stuff. Like, do you stream the progress? And she's like, no, I don't, because of security, because of privacy. Bullshit. We know that's bullshit now. So then I said, oh, I wanted to ask before I forgot. I love the full sketch of the full revised sketch, and was wondering how much extra it would cost to get it fully colored. Not fully rigged, because I won't need the full body, but I was wondering if I might be able to pay the difference for the full art in the future, because I'm wondering if I could pay you an additional $200 for a second commission to color it from bust down the line, or would it be $350 in total? I was thinking about it for future commission. So basically, I had already commissioned and paid for the bust up version, which we will see here shortly, and I loved the concept, I loved the color and everything, and I was like, well, I would want to have a full color model eventually. I don't know if I'd ever like continue to have more of a rigged, which, spoiler, I did, but like, I wanted something to start with, which was just the bust up, which was fine. I was basically just horns and a pair of tits, but I then had I wanted, like, the art is fantastic, and the artists themselves deserve the credit for what they're doing, and the fact that there's somebody who made this character and is not getting treated the way they should is really upsetting to me and pisses me right the fuck off. What's upsetting to me is, like, don't know how I want to put this. I know that I am one of like probably hundreds, if not probably thousands of people that have fallen for this scam and have fallen for this pretend Miko. Let's be honest, she's not a real person. And I believe that. And so the amount of time and effort that I put into something, it's stuff that I can't get back. Fine. But it's upsetting that there are other people who have also done the same thing and may not be aware. Like, I don't even want to think about all the people that paid for full models and full outfits and full rigging and probably spent like thousands upon thousands of dollars that they will never fucking see, because at the end of the day, you can't just be like, well, I paid for this thing and I got it, but the person that gave it to me is a scammer. Like, it doesn't matter. In the terms of service, if you pay for something and you got it, you got it. That's it. That's absolutely it. And so, like, there's nothing that can be done about that, and that's troubling and that's upsetting. But all that can be done is to speak out about it and not let it continue. I am not going to be commissioning Miko going forward. I am not going to be recommending her going forward. And the thing is in my noobish self, I did, because I didn't know any better. So I would see people on Twitter talking about looking for an artist and looking for a rigger, and my dumb ass would be like, oh, you should totally go, you should commission, and I would at Miko to get that attention and be like, you should go with this person's been great. I didn't know that I was perpetuating the problem, because again, I was new to the sphere, I was new to the system, I didn't know shit. And I'm still learning, you know, like, I am 42 fucking years old. I am not a child. But when it comes to this situation and this community, I'm still very new. I've only been doing this for like 5 months? More than that? Like, I hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. I debuted temporarily with a very cheap temporary model in August, because I got a generalized model to kind of like learn how to do the 2D stuff and how to do VTube Studio, because I knew that when I got my commission model, I wanted to kind of already know what I was doing. So I used a temporary model for like August. So technically, August is when I started. So August, September, October, November, December, January. Yeah, it's been 6 months. Shit, it's been 6 months. It does not feel like it's been 6 months. But yeah, that's still also a drop in comparison to people who have been doing this for like years, okay? But it is what it is, you know what I mean? And all you can do is like learn and go forward. Okay, you can go on to see this. So like we make a discussion and we're talking, oh, here's the server. So we're talking about, you know, like, I want to keep commissioning them because, again, I think this is a legit artist. So I'm like, oh, I stumbled upon a gem. No, I'm dumb. It's fine. I'm stupid. It's fine. But she invites me to the server, and this is a server with the other siblings. And so for about a month beforehand, I've been interacting with her. Then we get the base color here. And this is just a base color of what we have. And again, we have things not fully being what's being asked for. We have like the wings all being one shade, and I had asked, like, you know, different colors, fire colors. Red is only one of many colors of fire. You know, and it's a very, very basic. And so like the excuse at this point is like, okay, well, it'll be cleaned up in rendering. Okay, that could possibly be it, but I don't know any better, you know. The horns being as dark as they were, so like there's also like a gap at some point that I asked it to be fixed, and then I use references of like, okay, well, the horn should kind of look like a corkscrew looking from the front. And then you have like more stuff here. I had done like getting ahead of myself, I had done like a storybook. Let me go back. So in all the lead up to this, I was super excited, and I wanted to have like a storybook about my character, essentially like the lore of it and stuff, and like the basics of like what the character was about and everything like that, and everything that was about the Aries Phoenix. Okay. And I had wanted to make sure that like I wanted to include the sketch, because while it wasn't fully finished with the rendered, it fit the storybook theme that I had done, in which I basically had drawn these little chibis. I'm a terrible artist, but this is the best I got. I had drawn these little chibis and was telling the story of how the character came to be. And my lore video is up on my YouTube, so like it's out there. I'm not gonna go into that again. But I had asked her permission and be like, hey, can I have? Is it okay if I credit you, because I'd like to include this picture at the end, because this is supposed to be the hype for when we're going to go. And so I had planned on debuting mid-September based on the information she had given me, and then it didn't end up happening because it took longer, which is understandable. There was a lot of work with like the coloring and the rigging and everything, and it didn't actually become available until September 22nd, which is fucking hilarious to me, because the email literally said it would take a month. And she's like, no, it won't take a month. It took a month. It did. Which, again, would be fine if that's the normal procedure, but that's not. So we have this here. BGen tends to be... Hold on. BGen tends to be the safest, but it isn't immune to sold invitation keys and people abusing the system, sadly. Yeah. And the thing is what's happening is these artists are getting verified on BGen, and then they're spreading like wildfire, as I will say, but it's like somebody else in the other video had said like a virus, and they're spreading unchecked, because what they're doing is they're copying the same example of like cheap prices and cheap art, and then getting the traction of people being like, oh Jesus, $30, $50, that's completely and utterly within budget, you know, because you're paying for what you're getting, sure, but that's how they get it. And then, you know, then they start negotiating, or then they'll do their raffles to get people's attention and be like, oh, well, you know, so and so won, but like, you know, you're important to me too, so like here's a 10% discount. They don't fucking care about you. They want to get your interest enough to have you give them money to make commissions and work these artists in such horrible ways. And yeah, you'll get your commission, but you know that your commission is probably being worked on by several abused and underpaid artists and stuff who are being exploited in these other countries. That's the problem. That's the issue that we have here, right? And again, to make this 100% clear, like I can't say I have undisputed proof. That's not what this is. This is based on what has been accused, based on what evidence has been shared, and based on the fact that my personal interactions is 100% the same as what everybody else has been saying. There's a drop to truth in that to me. And this could be just a very inconvenient coincidence, sure, but I'm also fucking not gonna believe it. And the fact of the matter is like it breaks my heart that there's so many people that might not even be aware of it, or that just, you know, don't care. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not one of those people. I do care, okay? It might not fucking matter because, you know, I'm just some random person screaming into the void, but you know what? It's important to have people speak up about it, honestly. So, that being said, but yeah, so you'll see more of the same interactions. And then we have the render here, and then we have the expressions and stuff. And then so at this point, let's see if I can, oh, I went back too far. So at this point, there's a cry emote that in the sketch it was just the tears on the eye, and in the fully colored and rendered version it was tears on the cheek. And that's not what was asked for. Again, these are like minor little things, but when this is like a habit that these brokers do, because they're not directly involved, like they're not the actual artist. The artist would know, oh, that's right, you asked for this, you know, or oh, I'm following your reference sheet. But there's so many people, so many hands, and so many cogs in this, it's very easy for things to fall through the crack. And you, as a person who's commissioning it, might be like, okay, I can, you know what, it's fine, I'm gonna trust the process. That's not what's happening here. So in this particular example here, what we see is, you know, I basically point out like, okay, the sketch said this is not what the finished product is. And so then I initially was like, I wanted the tears removed. And then I eventually was like, it's too much effort. Whatever, it's fine. But again, and then here, you'll see this is the only quote unquote evidence that is given of the progress. Now, this is after the sketch, this is after the base, this is after the rendering. This is essentially like a piece of, you know, like more than likely what they probably did is they probably went to their artist and was like, hey, I need a piece of information to prove that this is, you know, this, I do not believe this is really them. I don't. Based on everything else, I don't. But like, this is the only thing that was ever given as far as like progress, like actual progress. Everything else was like, hey, here's the sketch. Hey, here's this upgrade. Hey, here's this cut. That was it. There was no like, this is how I'm doing. This is the process so far. And the thing is like, I understand different artists are different, but I also lived with an artist. We're not gonna talk too much about that artist, but I lived with an artist. I know how artists can operate, and when they're working on something, it can take them anywhere from like a couple of days to a couple of hours to a couple of days just to get like one little thing, especially if they're like very, very particular about how they want to do something. And if they get their burnout where they're like, they don't want to do that right now and they come back to it later, but not in the insane fast turnout that it is, you know. Listen, we're not mentioning the artist more. We're just saying I lived with an artist. I know what artists can be like. I know what that ... is. As a rule of thumb, if it's too quick, no work in progress videos based on low wage paying companies, also calling themselves studios and extremely cheap compared to what actual artists are charging, then it's most likely a sweatshop. Yeah, and the thing is, like, unfortunately, this is something that, like, I've only just recently discovered, so, like, there's nothing I can do about it going back. But going forward, I can warn people, hey, don't be like me. Do your research. And if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Vet it. Reach out to people. And that's the thing, is like, I had asked, I can't remember how far back this was, but I had asked a while ago if I could talk to if I could get some like information about like their prior clients and stuff. And they're like, oh, you can see on my VGen the list of people that like my work. And it's like, that's not what I asked. I asked if Bob Schmo commissioned a let's just say a regular old school Griffin model from you. I want to see how their interaction was with like the Griffin wings to my Phoenix wings or whatever the case might be. I had asked, and they're like, oh, you can look at my portfolio, which is again not what I asked, you know. So but yeah, so we see this, and then we have the update, and like I was astonished. Okay, here we go. I was still astonished because like it was so fast, it looked nice, and it was something that like, this was mine, this was me. I just wish I knew now what I know now, or then what I know now, but like, it is what it is. But this is the first interaction you'll see here about on September 24th. This is 2 days after she gave me the files, okay? And so she had given me it. I was excited about it. And pretty much the minute she gave me the stuff, I spent like all day long working on my parameters to be able to debut, because I was excited. It was behind schedule about what I wanted to do. I wanted to do mid-September, but I ended up doing it September 22nd. And I was very excited. I pretty much like the day I got the files, I spent all day working on the stuff so I could basically debut that night. I was fucking excited because I got this new thing and it was just shiny and I was so excited. I'm so excited to share it off, you know, and it was great. It was a great experience and I enjoyed my debut and everything. But there were still problems. And there were still things that, like, I just wish that I had known. And, you know, hindsight is 20/20. But here, there's a couple of examples here where I basically am telling her that when my head moves like this, when I look to the side, my bang covers my eye fully. The bang is not transparent. You can't see the eye. It basically is operating like a fucking eye patch over the eye. And it was frustrating, and it was just annoying because, like, I had asked about it. I asked about it in, like, the initial phase, and it was like, oh, well, that's just the movement. It won't be that bad. And then when I got it, it was just like it was. And so then, but I said here, I was like, okay, I think I've discovered it's more, oh, this is about the wings, too. So, I mentioned this here. I said, okay, I think I've discovered it's more the way the wing base is designed for both sides. I think it's just 9 feathers on each side. Maybe there is a way instead to have them somewhat attached to the hair. I don't know how rigging works, so I apologize if it's really not a simple solution. So aside from the hair, and the other issue that I'm noticing, if you can look carefully in the, let me see if I can, in the gap here, right? You can see there's a gap between the wing and the shoulder and stuff. And essentially there's just wings missing. There's feathers missing there. It's just a small inconsistency, and it's only noticeable whenever I moved the body because the hair covered most of it. But this is something that, like, an artist or a rigger who was an actual artist or rigger would be, that I 100% do not believe they would have left production with, like, oh, well, there's a gap here, that's fine. I think artists in general would have enough pride in their work to be like, I can't let that go out like that, you know? Same way of, like, a chef, if a burger doesn't look appetizing, they're not gonna want to send it to the customer because the customer is gonna complain, you know? Now, that might just be a random example, but yeah. So, like, so there's the wing gap there, there's the issue with the bangs covering the eye, and, like, I'm showing the clips of the wings, and you can see the eye being covered by the bang. So there's that. So then we go on here. So here's the boob joke. Okay, so let me explain this. Initially when I had the model, I wasn't really sure if I wanted the bigger bust, and I decided eventually to increase the bust. And this 100% is more along the lines of, like, what I had it for a while, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for a larger bust because it would just make more sense because I myself have a bigger bust. So it was just, I wanted to kind of have that reflected. Like, the model itself, I had asked for something that looked like older, mature, right? Like 30, 35, you know, almost 40s, right? The model that was given to me, like, to me, it seemed like it looked like in its 20s. It did not really match the mature vibe fully. And there were some things that I would later change to kind of make that a little bit better. But these are things that, like, were not even paid attention to in the character customization that was originally provided, you know? So there's that, the boob job. let me allow that because, yep, yeah. So that was a funny thing with my community. We were joking about getting bigger bird boobs, and then it happened, and it was just a joke that was fantastic, and I love it. I love my community. So we had this because we were thinking about it and stuff. So then so we're talking about getting the bigger bust. So we have the rendered side and everything else with that. Then we have the limited time coupon, like, hey, you know, let me go back to this. So this is okay. So it's just like, I'm about to send you the gift even before you put the blue heart on my comment section. Here it is. I've sent them to your hubby as well. For a limited time, 20% off all services on BGen. Valid until October 20th. So again, this is something that they did. Luigi is amazing. Yeah. My friends are hilarious. But yeah, so, like, this is something that they do where they do, like, oh, these coupons to get encouragement and have people, like, come, like, you're already really low price and now you're going even lower to be able to lure suckers like me in. Okay, like, so then we have what's this conversation? I keep, every time I pause it to go back, I, like, can't I pause it too fast or pause it too slow, whatever. All right, so then in October I get some unexpected money. And I'm like, someone has some extra funds. Guess who wants to commission more art from you if your comms are still open, of course. And I get to use the coupon. This is October 9th. This is less than 2-3 weeks after I had debuted. Okay. So I have $200 currently to work with, and I know we discussed add-on commission down the line. So I need to find out two options here. One, if I just commissioned you to do the full body art alone, would that be $200 correct, since I've already paid $350 for the bust up and the bust up rigging? Or two, if instead I commissioned you for a half body art and a half body rig, would that be $200? Because I broke it down and I did half and half, would it still cost the same? So essentially, this is reiterating to the conversation we had when I first commissioned. Was like, I will eventually want more stuff, and I want to find out if I've already paid for a certain amount. So if initially I paid $150 for the bust up, for the art, and then $150 for the bust up rig, does that payment of what you paid apply to other stuff? So like, if I started off with a bust and I decide, you know what, I want to go with a half body, which is what I did, does what I paid get credited towards the amount? Which I feel is an odd question, but is a fair question, because like, I didn't have $250 and $250, I'm sorry, $250. I didn't have $500 off the bat to be able to do a half body art and a half body rig, but I did have enough to be able to start with just the bare minimum, the bust for both. Right? So I was like, well, if I've already paid $350, do I have to pay more, or are you applying that? And she did say, well, you've already paid this much, we could do a discount on that. And of course they want to work with you because they want your money. So they'll still work with you, but they'll still it's still a lot. And remember, this is not them doing it. Basically what they're doing is, okay, well, if I make a deal that works in my benefit and I'm still getting a lot of this money, I can have the artist do whatever, and then I still get a large 90% chunk of it or whatever, you know? But they still want to hook you enough to be like, no, you have to pay for the full thing, and be like, okay, well, then I just will go to a different rigger or whatever the case might be. No, they want to still keep you because they want to make sure that, you know, they can still keep milking that money train, you know? So we talked about that here. Also apologies for Sam, just checking for clarification. This was the full sketch. This was the bust. So I'm wondering if this would be the half body. So then you see her response here. And we have the cutesy, hi, my fire daughter. Which, first time she had been using that. So that was also kind of okay. Sorry for the response. Mommy just caught a cold and on my first day of my period. Okay, sure. So then she breaks down the options here, and she's talking about how, oh, here we go. It's okay, let me break down these two options. If you choose just the full body art without the rig, that would normally be $200. With your 20% voucher, that comes to $160. Now for the half body art and rig additional, it's slightly trickier. Since the rigging requires me to go in and repart some of the existing art, the cost breaks down to $100 for the art and $200 for the rig, totaling $300. Applying your 20% voucher brings the total to $240. So which option works best for you? So I go on to say the second option, let's do it. I can swing $240. I'm so sorry to hear you're not feeling well. It seems like the season. Oh, and this time, would it be okay to do a half and half payment? Pay half up front and then pay the other half next week. I get paid again on 10/16. But I just want to make sure hubby has enough to do grocery shopping today. Unless you're okay with me just paying you in full next Thursday, I am not sure when you would be able to squeeze me in. I know you have other comps you're working on regularly. And then I said, so then for clarification, would this be the half body? I wasn't sure exactly where the half cutoff would be. And you did such an amazing, an incredible job on the skirt. I love the idea of the jewelry on the skirt tying in with the jewelry on the horns. Oh, and a random quick question. Is there a way to have the rigging on the bang not move as much? Anytime I move with my current model, it hides my other eye a lot, and it might be neat if it didn't move as much as the rest of the model. The rest of the hair. Sorry. Is it playing? Here we go. I'm fine with both of these as long as you're comfortable with that. If we have to set up multiple payments, then I'll help you set those as well. And I said, yeah, I'm good with paying half up front and half on Thursday. I just want to make sure you're okay with the two. Because she does say in her terms of service, like, paying half and half on stuff is okay. You just have to say up front. Which, you know, again, you want to make sure that you have some money. So you're going to work with what you can, because zero commission is zero commission, you know. I'm excited. How do I set up VGen? I need to officially commission you there, right? So keep in mind, I didn't fully commission her on VGen. We had discussed in DMs. This is why the first one didn't actually show up. We had discussed in what was it? DMs and pretty much and whatnot. But it wasn't until later that she was like, oh yeah, you go submit my stuff through VGen. So like, that's upsetting. But that's why I have receipts. And she goes, that's fine with me. I want to make sure this also, usually I cut half body until the waist part, so it will be like this. Is that okay with you, dear? Again, with the same like dear mannerisms, sweetheart and hun, like, you know, probably a dude. We're pretty sure that's probably a dude. A note for this one also, I'll fix this on the rigging part later. I said, okay, I wasn't sure where the hat would be. I liked the little thigh peak and the full hair length. Could I pay extra for the extra inch or two? I don't mind. Your work is so worth it. Again, the artist worth it. Or maybe just get the last jewelry dip on the skirt like this. So I'm giving visual examples of like what I want. Okay. So she says, okay, I get it. Since you're fine with the extra cost for the extra 2 inches, that would be $60 to the price. So your discount applied, the final cost would be about $288. Does that sound good to you? I said, yeah, that's doable. I'll just do $144 up front and $144 Thursday the 16th. And I'm doing my math right. It's late and I'm tired. So again, oh yeah, we can add more, but it's going to cost more. So then, so then we have, you can send the request through here. So yes, and then there's more of just the talking here, the same interactions, you know, like it's very much the same. So, all right. So then this is the first time she shows me the 1.5. Okay. My fire daughter. Oh, she'd be. So this is the first time that she shows me the 1.5 update. And she goes, oh, by the way, I've tried to put colors on your 1.5. What do you think? Now, there's some problems with this, and I identify that with her, quote unquote her. I say, looking good, but the bottom of the hair is supposed to be more burnt orange, kind of umber color, remember, from the character concept. Which I will see here. I think I have other pictures here, too, so I'm just going to let that play through. So I point out about that. And then so they said, I made the changes here since I think it suits better for your hair. What do you think now? I said, it looks awesome. It's perfect. Yes, the bottom half is going to be the same shade once it's all done. I know the split is giving it half and half look, so I wasn't sure. Something like this. Top red, middle burnt orange, light, ends light blonde. I absolutely love the color transition, but could we go with the lighter on the bottom so it lightens as it goes down? But the lighter hair looks incredible against the red of the rest of the outfit. I am so excited. So I, again, give an example of what I asked for. Again, reiterating... reiterating what I'd already asked for in the original concept, you know. And again, mistakes can happen, sure, but if you are actually a company with multiple artists, not everybody's going to be on the same page, so that makes more sense, and that adds to me more credence to this is a scam. So then I give an example. I take the picture of the color and I flip it, and I'm like, I'm looking more for like the darker blonde on top and the lighter blonde on the bottom. I have an idea in mind and I'm paying for this, so I want to have it be what I originally asked for. And anybody that knows anything about hair, and I don't know a whole lot about hair, but I know enough about hair to know if you have an umber color where it goes from one shade down, it changes colors. Like there's like sometimes 3, sometimes 5, but it usually starts with like one color on top and a gradient to go down the way, which is what I used in the original concept and what I asked for. And even still, there was a lot of back and forth about, okay, well, this is what I asked for, and like reiterating it and the changes constantly. And like, I was giving a lot of benefit of the doubt because I didn't know any better. I didn't know this person was a scammer, you know? And so my experience, we're almost done with my experience plus everything else that I have seen, plus the Discord, plus the links, I firmly believe that this is the scam. And now that I know, I'm like, the fuck. So we're talking more about this, and you can still see the same way that, you know, and I give this example of like, this is what I'm talking about. And then we finally have an update here, which is more in tune to like what my model ended up having, which again, I love, and I am very sad that this model is basically dead. And because the model looks great, the artist did a fantastic job, but like, I'm not comfortable using this model knowing what I know now, you know? So here's an update. This is what you think. And then I point out a couple of inconsistencies again. And I'm like, okay, well, can we fill in the circle? Like, this looks weird. Can we fill in this? And then I basically do like a little copy paste of like a little line or whatever. I'm like, can we put like a top, like the weird little point out, like, I think it shows it a little bit more. Does it? It does. So there's this weird little notch. Okay. So like, these are things that like, they're small, minor things, but there's so many of them that I'm like, it was questionable the more it kept happening. And again, because I didn't know any better, I was like, well, maybe that's just how this artist is. No, I was just stupid. It's fine. It's fine. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm stupid. So then, you know, we talk about this and we talk about fixing it. We're going to get into the fun part with the boobs here in a minute. So then, you know, we get here. So we're talking about the bangs. We're talking about, okay, let's see here. Okay, so here we're talking about, like, this is supposed to be some changes she had made to the bang after the 1.5, right? She supposedly had included trying to make it move less. And there's a video here. It's just a screenshot, so I can't actually like share the video here. But there's a video here of like the movement, and it's still covering it. And so I said the bang is still covering the left eye a lot when it moves. Should we make it stationary and not move then? Other than that, everything else looks great. The movement on the hair, the jewelry on the skirt, etc. Oh, and I put the add-on request on BGen for lol boob job, by the way. So if I'm getting amused by that. So you want to have it stay instead of moving like now. And then I say, yes, the bang just keeps covering the left eye, and it might just look better to leave it stationary so when my head moves, you see all of those lovely golden eyes. There's so much movement with the wings and hair itself, it makes the bang stay put, should still look really good. So she comes back and says, I want to share the revised update with your rig. First, I want to disclaimer. I've lowered down the parameter for your bangs, but I personally think the bang still needs to move a bit. It will make it more natural, since that would look weird if I make it 100% static. Which, at the end of the day, it should be up to what your fucking client wants, which I didn't have enough education and knowledge to know, bullshit, I want this, why aren't you giving me this, I'm paying for it. It's the excuse of, I don't know how to do that, so I'm gonna just say it should look better like that. It's like, if I turn, okay, the model I have here, I have a bang near my eye. I turn, you can still see my eye. I turn, you can still see my eye. The bangs are not covering my eye. And the thing is, it's like, if I've said this now 3 times and I still keep getting excuses, my dumb ass was like, okay, maybe it's not, maybe they can't fix it. No, I didn't know any better. All right, so we had this. Let's see. Substitute nothing to fix, I'll export the files. So we're talking here. Okay. So here we're talking about the next commission. Now keep in mind, this is, I think, number 3 at this point. So we did the bust, we did the 1.5, which was the half body. Now we're doing the third commission, which is the bigger bust, which this is the only one in which was like, it was something I added on after the fact. But like everything else was like original stuff that had to be corrected or changed later, like the hair, the bangs, you know. But like the bust was like, if I had wanted a bigger bust at that time, I should have said something, whatever, it's fine, you know. That's something that like I decided to do. But then we're not even going to talk about the weird proportions of the bigger bust, which we'll get into in a moment because we're almost done with my stuff. This is the character reference I have. Like, think Urza Scarlet from Fairy Tale, angry redhead. Like, that's been my thing for a long time. But I use a reference of like, this is kind of the idea of like the bust size for the increase that we're looking at. Like, you can tell from my customized model, I have the boob size that I want. Regardless. So I give her references here, and we're talking about the payment of it. And then we're talking about how much it is, and then it's the taxes, blah, blah, blah. So then she then gives me a comparison. Okay. And it's a little bit bigger, but it's not very noticeable. So I'm like, okay, can we make it bigger? So then like I have a wild hair up my ass to make a joke about it because, you know, I'm a very comical person. So I was like, let me just take a screenshot and then make it bigger. So I said, okay, I got a visual and I can't stop laughing, but please hear me out. I said somewhere in between that, oh my fucking God, I can't stop laughing. So I just want you to appreciate here. So while we pause for a minute here, like I was looking for something a little bit bigger and I feel like she just went and just chose the biggest option. But I was like, okay, so you have the original, you have the little bit bigger. I'm looking for something a little bit bigger than that. Like between this middle and the last one is kind of more where I'm looking for. And like, it's difficult to make an exact decoration of like, okay, this is exactly the size I want. I want 36.2. That's not how that works, you know? And I get that. But like, I'm giving you visual representations of what I want. Like, it's not that hard. So then we continue on with that. And then she sends me this monstrosity. And so we get the options of what it is. And again, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is only this is a couple of days later. Now, here's the thing. This is fully colored a couple of days later. Okay? That's suspicious to me in the first place. Like, how did you manage to get a sketch and a color that fast, that quickly? You know? Like, it is what it is. So then, like, we end up deciding, I think, on... I think it's A. Yeah, I think it's A. We decided to go on A because it's more shaped down to the body or whatever. But yeah, so then we have like the insane at the end with C, and then we have like A or B is more what we're looking for and stuff. But you can see that like they didn't do anything with the proportions are just way off, right? And yes, I asked for larger tits. However, if you look at something and you're like, this looks a little off, maybe you should adjust it accordingly and like add a little bit more curve to the hips to kind of make more sense for it. So like when I started using it, I started using the model down to like the hip waist area a little bit to kind of give more of the visual appearance. But like the top is very obviously like this is out of proportion. Obviously out of proportion. But yeah, so we go on here and then we have, and then here's another problem. And then I realized I lost my braids in the half body transition and never even noticed till I was setting up adjustment rigging today. So I think my next project I'll probably do with the hair down with the braids over my shoulders. So you can see, and I use the visual, when I had the half model, the half body, I'm sorry, when I had the bust, we had the braids here. And then the braids are completely and utterly removed from the half body, and I didn't notice it myself. Right, that's on me because I'm not very knowledgeable about this shit. So like it didn't click to me until later. But like this is something an artist would normally have picked up on. So like she's like, oh, I turned them off and forgot to put them back on. So then we're talking. Hold on, go back a little bit. So we're talking about so she's gonna correct the bang. She sent over the revision, or not the bang. We're gonna correct the braid. She sent over the revision, including the braids, because the braids were already there. She had to like correct it and send it back. Which again, so many problems, and like I didn't. It's sus. It's so sus, you guys. So then I'm talking about like, okay, my next project, because you know I'm constantly wanting new stuff for my stuff, because this is something I want to be able to do for years, you know? So I'm like, okay, I want to eventually have new hair in the future, right? And so I'm like, what can we do to fix the bangs? What can we do for new hair? So we start talking about, you know, what it would cost for like a new hairstyle. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, if I initially had my hair up, I would want to eventually have a toggle to have my hair down, which as you can see, my model currently has her hair down. I couldn't really find a good ponytail aspect. There was a lot of like side ponytails and stuff. That's not the point. But I wanted to be able to have different hairstyles. I'm going to eventually be able to have different like I'm going to have like a controller in one outfit that'll be my gaming outfit. I'll have like a nighttime set. Like there's so many other things that I can do with the customizable that I'm very happy about. So like the silver lining of all of this and not being able to use my old model anymore is like I do have a solution going forward. Not everybody does. And I understand that. And that's not fair to everybody else, you know? But I still wanted to put that information out there because it's like, this is a problem. So we were talking about like how much it would be for new hair and, you know, corrections to the bangs. And so then we're talking about the adjusted braids here, fixing that. Okay. So here we're basically just talking about, okay, well, it's going to be this much, for a new hairstyle. It's gonna be this much, just correct the bangs. And there's a little bit of a disconnect and a confusion about like, okay, well, is it gonna be $30 for just the bang fix? Like essentially what I'm trying to explain is like I want to correct the bangs before I pay this large chunk for a new hairstyle, because the only thing I want to do right now is just correct the bangs because the bang keeps covering my eye. So we talk about this. There's a little bit of disconnect there. And then I have the money to do the bang correction. So we work on that, and you can still see the same mannerisms of how like we're talking and stuff, and the hi and the sweet, like it's more of the same, you know? So then we get some updates about like what the options are for the bangs. We get the video of like what it looks like. And so I paid for a new item for something that was like had been asked and to be corrected multiple times, to the point where I finally was like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking pay for a new bang, because everything that I keep asking is going in one ear, not the other. And again, I made an assumption on, well, this is just something that I don't know enough about the art stuff. I don't know enough about rigging to know like this might be a problem. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. It's how can we get you to pay more money? Just claim we can't do it, you know? Hey Raven, welcome in. So for those of you late to the stream, I will be posting this on my YouTube once we're finished, but essentially this is just the whole Miko situation. And this is the accusations that got my attention, essentially. The proof of the accusations that got my attention and made me question it and look into it myself. And then the similarities that I have noticed, and the effect with like the community and stuff. So this is my take on everything, and I've made a very good point of like I'm only keeping this centered to myself and my interactions and what I've seen, because it's not my place to be like, oh, so and so also went through this, and oh, so and so also. That's not the point. That's not what this is about. So yeah, you missed the beginning, but there'll be a video. So yeah, so wait, hold on. I got distracted for a second there. Okay, so one of the last couple things, I have like 2 more questions I have for her towards the end. This is like approaching December, okay? The end of December, actually. And so I ask a quick question, wondering how much it would be to finish the full art on the model. I might treat myself once Christmas money clears. Oh, me out. She said, Merry Christmas, dear. So the leg portion of this, you know, so again, I went from bust to a little more than half body, and I wanted to get the rest of it, eventually just the art. I didn't want the rigging of the legs, just the art. I wanted the full body art. So she goes, oh, with the same details on the dress strap. I said, nah, I think the gold accessories and jewels look great on the hips, and would probably just be a simple red flowing dress the rest of the way down. Gold heels likely, I assume. She says, okay, I think for the full finish art and rig, normally we would go with $320, but since the last time you already paid for 2 inches on that, I think we can go with $260. I say, well, it wouldn't be included a rig, just the art itself. Is that just the art itself? She says, that's already included in the rig, dear. I said, oh, I see. Good thing to keep in mind. I'll have some thinking on it. So that's as good a deal as I can offer, but no rush. I know you need time to think about it. I said, okay, I'm dumb. I just forgot there was one other thing I forgot to ask you. Do you do backgrounds for Twitch streaming? Like, I had this idea in mind to do a birdcage theme background for just my just chatting screen, and I didn't see anywhere on your VGen for ideas or costs. So before I go into the background thing, I didn't need the rigging on the legs, and basically just be like, that's included. Like, okay, but I don't want the rigging included. I only want the art. And then to be like, okay, well, it's included. That's not what I'm asking for. So then we go on to discuss the details about the background, which is just supposed to be just a simple just chatting background. So I give her some examples of like what I'm looking for, and I give her another PDF of hold on, let me go back here. I give her another PDF of what I'm looking for, and I don't think, I might have it somewhere. Hang on. I think I have my bird cage somewhere. Hold on a second. Because I did another breakdown. What's Avatar? I'm looking to see if I can find it. Because I have a PDF of the birds. That's the only thing I didn't already have. Can I find it under my downloads, maybe? Yes! God, I'm so glad that I keep copies of everything for fucking ever. Okay, I found my birdcage. So, I sent her a concept art of like, or concept plan of like the background. So the background I had, this is the most recent thing I have. This is the last thing I have from her. We have like the bird crone bird crone bird cage bedroom concepts. Say that 10 times fast. So bird crone bedroom. The shape is the concept of the just chatting background is a simple singular circle shaped bedroom that takes place inside of what looks like a giant bird cage. Essentially, the room itself is the shape of a bird cage. And then I have a couple examples of like what that looks like. Cage colors. The bars of the cage would be golden in color with the space between just large open windows in between. The furniture inside, basic bedroom stuff like a bed, dresser, vanity set, being different shades of red, burnt orange, and any, quote, wood parts, the bed frame furniture, made of a lighter colored wood. The same colors of the model, essentially. The examples below are just some visuals of circular rooms with open windows, round-shaped beds, and the roof looking peak if you need it for inspiration. So I use more examples. So I have the top portion that adds to the circular feel, the 2 circular beds with canopy cover to fit the birdcage covered at night feel. So we have plenty of visual examples, okay? As you can see, right. And then we have the windows basically being like the circular windows, right? And lastly, 2 rounded room windows for the design concept. I like the separation of the bed on one side and a sitting area on the other side. So anything that is similar to that would be good. So I'm going to close that. So glad I had that. I didn't realize I had that saved somewhere. That is what I sent her for the concept of the bird cage stuff, right? The bird bedroom. this is what I got. I got this. So I want to send a rough sketch for your background. Here it is. What do you think? So there's some concepts of it, but there's also like almost exactly like the top is exactly what here. But like there's no cage. You know what I mean? Like this is not what I had asked for with the cage stuff. Like there's a couple open windows and stuff, which okay, possible artist discrepancy or what, not discrepancy, what's the word, when the artist makes the call of what they think looks best. Like I get that, I do understand that, but it's also not what was included in the concept. So it looks good. I love the little chair swing, and again, I think of that as a chair swing, not a bed. She said, that's the part I love too. Is she goes, hee hee, that's the part I love too. Is there anything you want me to fix or add from this update? I said, let me think. Sorry, at work. Only thing I can think of is maybe add some side curtains around the big bed. Kind of different style, but like this. And then I scribbled it in because I'm a fantastic artist, you guys. So the whole idea of drawing curtains around the bed because birds get blankets over their cages to trick them into sleeping. I did have one question to confirm. I think if it's not mistaken for the window showing outside the window behind the vanity, right? So there's a similar looking outside foliage or whatnot. For the background, there's just minor questions I have about like, is there more windows? She said, I see. Thank you for explaining. Sorry for the delayed response. I just got home from my grandmother's funeral. And for this would be a similar outside window. To which I said, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. I lost both of my parents rather suddenly, so grief is hard. And then she goes, so what was that? So a day later, here's the revised sketch so far. I have added the curtains on the bed. What do you think now? This again, I want you all to look at the fucking detail of a sketch a day later. Okay? Not even a full day later. Like the turnaround is just fucking insane. And like again, red flags galore that I didn't know. And now that I see the evidence before my eyes and I witness my own evidence, I'm like, oh fuck. You know? So, there's that. Let me put that back down. I keep resizing it every now and then. Alright, so then we have, looks amazing. I love it. Looks perfect. I'm happy to know you love this update. And so then, so she says, I'm happy to know you love this update. Is there... Smiley face, if there's no more to fix from the sketch, I'll update and continue. I said, looks great. Go for it. And then she goes, here's the base color update so far. What do you think? And immediately I noticed, like, there's some things not being listened to. I said, looks great. My only question is, can we make the browns a more brownish red like this? And I use the example, and I take like a little color swatch of what I'm talking about. Because it doesn't look like I asked for reds and burnt oranges and the golds that match the burnt, not just dark brown. And I understand that like sometimes color variations are different to monitors and stuff, but like there's a difference between brown and there's a difference to red in me. I firmly believe that. So I used this, as you can see. Let's see if I can make it bigger. I guess I don't really need to make it bigger, but you can see like you can see the difference of like the color swatch of what I'm talking about. Whoops. Whatever. There's a color swatch of like what I'm talking about versus like what they gave me. So we're gonna minimize this again. Back to the original size. We're almost done. So I use that. And then so it goes, okay, that's possible to fix, or at least since it's still a base color, I'll use the brownish red color as the shading for rendering later, so it'll look more matched with your preferences. Sound good? All right. Right. Besides, I was pretty sure I mentioned the color scheme red, burnt orange, and light brown, and double checking the PDF I sent you for concepts 2 last month, it's on there as well. So I'm like, I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed. Again, this is before all this shit just exploded, mind you. And I'm starting to be like, I'm giving you concepts I don't understand, like why you're not following the concepts, or why you're not asking me questions about the concepts. Like, I'm giving you the plate. All you have to do is eat it.
And she's hi, hope you're doing well today. I have another update here. Has the rendering out so far? What do you think? And like you still see the like the same cutesy kind of like interaction. So then we have looks pretty. I love it. But yeah, so I just the evidence speaks volumes for me personally. And the problem now becomes like, what do we do? Right? Like, I've mentioned it a couple of times when I've mentioned the community, but I haven't really gone into full detail about it because not everybody is aware of the community. And we're gonna close this up because goodbye display picture. Goodbye that character. We're gonna go back to just chatting for now and use the old one. I don't know, maybe I'll just keep using the old one. But the thing is like when I joined the sibling community, I wanted to find like-minded people to play games with. Like, I've always been somebody who I game first, I stream second, basically. Like, I will play games that I like and stream it because I have fun playing those games, and I like, you know, sharing that with people in the community in general, but I also like playing games with people in general. I will do stuff on stream and off stream, and people, excuse me, people who have played games with me in general and seen how I am like in voice and in Discord, I am pretty much the same that I am on stream as I am off stream. And there are people that can attest to that. But like, I honesty and transparency is important to me. And I'm going to be honest, I had to deal with this for quite a bit for the last day or two. And I talked to some people that I am comfortable with, that that are like my trusted confidants. I've spoken specifically only to like my main moderator. I've spoken to the my main sibling, who is one of the other admins of the server and is the person I trust explicitly in that community. I have people that I like, and I have people that, you know, I have a bond of friendship with, but there are certain confidants that like they're very limited. I try to keep my circle pretty tight because that's just how I am in my older age, and that's fine. Like, I can make friends with a lot of people, but there's certain people that like have earned my trust, and this has been something that has been a nuke, and I'm quite sure that my video right now is not helping. But to just not say anything and to just kind of bite your tongue and pretend that it's not happening is not something I would ever be able to do. And not everybody has the funds and the means to be able to have a temporary option of, okay, well, this is a shit show, how do we, you know, fix whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you know, you can't just let it go, for me anyway. And I am heartbroken because what I thought I knew was wrong. And I get it. Like, you can't be held to a point where you're like, okay, well, you didn't know any better. Like, you're right, but now I do know better. And this was something that was only recently brought to my attention. And I didn't want to sit there and be like, okay, well, I wanted to pretend like yeah, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. I didn't want to have it come to a point where, like, if it ends up blowing up, if it doesn't end up blowing up, it won't matter. But I wanted to make sure that I had my stance clear, and kind of had that conversation with the people that needed to have that conversation. We're still not really sure what we're doing with the rest of the community because there are so many people that are involved in this and so many people that are affected by this. But the thing I know without a doubt is that I don't trust the artist. I don't trust the quote unquote artist. I don't trust Miko with everything that I have seen and everything that I have experienced and everything that I have seen that has been the evidence of the same behaviors. I firmly do believe that their accusations about MikoZen Studios being one of those brokers, one of those black company fronts. But this was brought to my attention by Zed, who quite literally came into my room and said, have you seen the drama on Twitter? And I had turned to him and be like, you mean the Marvel Rivals drama? That's the only drama I knew about. No, the drama involving Miko. So I was like, okay, what? No, let me look. And it's been a spiral downhill ever since. So everything like it's mostly just Zed being more aware of shit. And apparently, what happened was that some people actually reached out to him because he had in his bio and in his profile, he had the fact that like Miko was his model mom, so people were reaching out to him. So it there was some inkling of it. There was some spark of it there. Essentially, what this has been about, it's been multiple brokers, basically, quote unquote, studios, but they're claiming to be one person doing all the art, and then actually that's not the case. They're doing multiple commissions all at once for like insanely low prices, and the inconsistencies, like everything that you've seen in the prior stream. You know what I mean? My biggest problem was this was my first experience, so I didn't know what other artists were actually charging. I didn't know what the value of the work should have been. And that's just because I was a baby VTuber and I didn't know any better. Well, I know now. I also don't know. I'm still giving it some time because my vote is 100%. We need to remove Miko from the sibling community and decide what we do as a community after that. But I'm only one voice amongst the moderators because I am one of the moderators. I'm supposed to be. Jesus, my goodness. I am the community event moderator. Basically, like the NDAs that they signed is basically saying you can't take credit for this, which is until like they leave the company, maybe. I don't know, but like it's just upsetting. Yeah, like I had wanted to get a lot of the your character here. Because again, I didn't know any better. Now that I know, I'm like, no, I'm good. But like those are red flags that again, I didn't know were red flags until later. You know, it's been a thing since online commissions, hard to control in my opinion, because I find this out as soon as I start calming. It's better late than never. That's true. Here's the thing. There are people who have been streaming for years who are just as affected, and there are people like me who have only been streaming for about 6 months. I'm still a baby hag tuber. Okay, I still have not been doing this very long, but a lot of my real life experience of like I'm old enough to know better about some certain things. Some of it is I'm naive because I don't know how VTubing works and how commissioning works and that kind of stuff, that like a lot of things that I should have known better, I did not know because I had nothing to go by. So in the next year or so, as I, kind of figure things out, I'll be able to be like, okay, this is way too lowball. This is probably a scam. And that's something that like experience is kind of a good life teacher. You have to kind of go through things to kind of understand like how to not go through them again, if that makes sense. I'm still debating, and I'll probably use Llama's example on this. I'm debating if I want to spend the time to edit it down or just post it. I took a second look at everything, and I took a look at the evidence. I looked at what she had. I looked at our interactions. And it made me realize that, like, she's on the list for a reason. And the reason is not good. And unfortunately, for me personally, it feels like it's going to be a bigger problem. Because, again, there's an entire community of our art siblings that our whole community is built on the fact that we have that in common, that we are all her kids. And to find out that your art mom that you thought you had a relationship with, that you thought was like this good person who's just insanely talented for unknown reasons, why they can prop out 10 15 commissions in a week, to find out that like they're not what you thought, and that you're kind of like having the wool taken from your as a sheep bird having the wool taken from your eyes, but having like the wool taken from your eyes is just something that's like, oh shit. And that's, I don't want to undersell at all what my other siblings might be going through. Those of them who know, those of them who don't know, those of them who this might be their first experience with it. Like, I want to make sure that I provided my information in as concise a way as possible without I wanted to provide my evidence without making it a bigger deal, if that makes sense. I didn't want to make assumptions or make adjustments, not adjustments. I didn't want to make assumptions or make accusations without being able to be like, okay, so this is what is presented before me. This is what matches up with what is presented before me. And these are my interactions, and this is my feelings on it. Like, I wanted to strictly have it be that, you know. You get invested in something, and then you're like, everything you thought you knew was not actually the truth, you know? People. So she messaged me. This is after we just finished. This all was today. Because I was being short in my replies, as you could see from my prior posts and stuff, that, like, I pretty much already was like, no. But, like, this is after she sent the background. And, you know, I was like, okay. And it was like, payment released. Like, I didn't want to just be like, well, fuck you. But, like, so she messages me and she says, I want to check on you since there's, quote, trauma out there. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions or concerns. And I said, now I was playing dumb for a reason because I'm not stupid. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then they didn't respond. So the fact that she decided not to respond was alarming to me. Now, she messaged me before I went live. So it's pretty obvious by now. She knows. Oh, she knows. They're not gonna know. She knows. So yeah, so she sent this to one of the community members. Again, not gonna name names. She says, when I worked on your commission, everything was handled by me personally, which is why I still brand myself as MikoZen. As my commission grew, I rebranded into MikoZen Studio and now receive some help, but I always clearly inform clients if a project involves my team, which is 100% a lie. Most of my work, around 70%, is still done by me directly, and anything handled by the team is under my supervision. I also make sure everyone is treated fairly and not overworked. I hope that clarifies things. That is a blatant lie. You will see in my DMs from, and again, my DMs with her using the term loosely, my DMs with Miko are from the start of the conversation in July to our most recent interaction as of fucking today. And not once does she ever say, I am a studio. She presents herself as being a solo artist, and she's always presented herself as a solo artist. Her Discord profile claims that she is, you know, an artist that does this. Nothing about a company. So that's a blatant fucking lie. And again, lying is important. Lying is a big no-no to me. I can forgive many things. I can't forgive that. So there's that. So this person says, so at the time of my commission, you were a solo artist. And she replies, yes. We know that that's not true. So this person also included, I'm just going to make this bigger. This is an advertisement of her company hiring. Now, it's in a language I can't understand, understandably, but like it's very clearly they're hiring for the quote unquote studio. Okay, this is the first I've seen this as of like earlier today. I saw this, but this is I've not seen this before today, essentially. So why are you lying? So then we go on to, let me go back to this. And I'm going to have to like edit the chat a little bit because like there's more information after the fact. I might just leave the stream as a whole. So then they say, hi, and it's one of my siblings. Hi, how is everything going with you? So this person says, I'm doing okay right now, but I'm dealing with some concerning issues that I wasn't informed about. And they say, so Miko says, glad to know you're doing okay. I was checking on you since I think maybe one of the issues that you're dealing with now relating to me as well. If you have any questions, I'm openly to answer and help you as long it can put your mind at ease. Now, I understand there's a language barrier, but there's also a language barrier and there's also chat GPI. So the person says, we will work to schedule a meeting with the staff team soon. That's the admins of the community, mind you, myself included. As I've come across some concerning rumors and information that don't that don't seem to align. The rumors about them are particularly troubling, as they could potentially damage my career if they turn out to be true. While I strive to remain neutral, the implications are significant enough to warrant immediate attention. To which Miko replies, okay, I do agree with scheduling a meeting, since I think we should make sure everything is clear between our ends. I strongly support our Zen family, this is the artist family, or the sibling family, and I don't want this rumor damaging our careers. I'm not sure if I'm so grateful that there's been such a positive feedback of like people wanting to support each other and kind of be there for each other, because it's upsetting. This is kind of like a mourning period of like your character is affected by something that like you didn't have any hand in, and it's upsetting because like somebody else's, you know, lack of honesty and clarity is basically shitting on everything that you made of yourself.
Okay, so I wanted to do a quick update to be added to the editing that was being done for the call out video. So apologies in advance, as you can tell probably from the state of my voice that it has been a rough time. I have come down with laryngitis either from catching whatever Zed had and or the vocal strain from the 5-hour plus video and just talking in general, because I work in a place where it requires me to talk, so I haven't had the chance to really rest my voice, which I will be doing going forward. But this is essentially Future Rage, adding the final conclusion to what was going on in my prior video. Official action: removal MikoZen from the community. Hello everyone, as you may have noticed, MikoZen has been removed from the server. This decision was made by the staff team and is effective immediately. Going forward, the server will be rebranded. We're making this change because we believe trust has been broken in multiple ways, and we can't ignore that. The core purpose of the server has always been to build a family-like community where we can grow together, be truthful with each other, and work alongside each other respectfully. As part of the rebrand, we're also planning to adjust roles to better reflect one unified community rather than splitting things into siblings, collab partners, or friends. A note about personal choices. We respect that everyone has their own perspective. Everyone is free to decide whether they want to stay in the community, continue commissioning Miko, or do anything else. All viewpoints are welcome, and we respect how people choose to spend their own money and support creators. Thank you for reading The Menaces. Goes on to say the reasons. Number 1, avoiding direct answers, corporate style responses. Repeatedly, questions were met with non-answers, deflections, or company statements instead of clear, personal, transparent communication in the way we previously knew Miko. Number 2, unclear authorship and credit. Miko has been presented as the sole artist behind many models, emojis, and assets without clearly communicating when a team is involved. This creates confusion about what is personally created versus what is produced by a team and how credit is assigned. Number 3, conflicting information about PayPal ownership/access. At first, we assumed that PayPal was Miko's. Later, we were told it was operated by a third party with a name and image that did not clearly indicate a connection to Miko. After that, the PayPal presentation appeared to change again in a way that suggested Miko may have full access/control, which directly contradicts the earlier explanation. These shifting details are a major trust issue. Number 4, loss of trust due to withheld information, increasing contradictions, and unresolved allegations. Based on the information we've uncovered, including initial lack of transparency about operating as a company, and the fact that multiple people work on projects, and because attempted explanations created more confusion, especially around PayPal and the overall company setup, trust has been critically damaged. On top of that, there are serious allegations and rumors that have not been clearly or convincingly addressed. As a result, trust has been completely lost. This community is built on trust, and because that trust has been destroyed, we cannot allow the situation to continue in an official capacity. Views of staff. This MikoZen community was supposed to be built on trust, creativity, and fun. That trust has been irrevocably damaged by MikoZen Studios, the company, because at the end of the day, they are essentially admitting to being a company in Indonesia, and all the accusations and claims are essentially being proven to have solid validity based on the corpo non-answers, evasiveness, and such. Their actions and answers have been adding credence to our concerns, and they are being held accountable to those concerns. They have been caught in multiple, quote, mistruths and half-lies, end quote, and we as a community do not represent this company or the way it conducts itself. So my final statement, and this is from me personally, Rachel and Fire directly. For those of you who have been following, I will also share here what the final determination was. The admins behind the sibling community have been discussing the issue for days and had discussed how to address it going forward. I have explicitly said there are allegations that have been found, and I have reason to believe, based on my experience and what I have uncovered, these allegations have merit to them. That is my impression and my beliefs, and I will remain true to my beliefs. We may never 100% know the truth because the company will not incriminate itself. But when they get caught in multiple lies, you have to ask yourself, what else could they be lying about? For me personally, there are only ever two major problems I had, and these are only my personal feelings on the matter, and the allegations that have warranted my concerns. Number one, dishonesty about initially presenting themselves as a sole artist, when in actuality they have been a company this entire time. That at least I worked with them. I commissioned them in August 2025. At that time, they'd already done their hiring and such, according to evidence of post in the spring of 2024. Not to mention the other accounts of theirs I found on Fiverr and other sites selling services under the quote male persona of Miko, the one they claimed was their imposter in our sibling Discord. And that is something that was brought up in the video. Number two, lastly, being the underage concerns. While other countries might have laxer views on letting minors work in places of business, the accusation was that these laws were not being followed, and the biggest crux for me personally was the accusation that minors were being forced to draw not safe for work art as part of their employment terms, and artists being overworked and expected to take on 1 to 3 projects simultaneously with impossible deadlines. Now yes, it's difficult to prove one way or another, but at the end of the day, the accusations brought up my concerns, and the responses to those concerns only clarified one thing: that trust had been broken, that this was in actuality a company, and that someone who has proven to be a liar once, for me at least, cannot be trusted to suddenly start being honest now. For many of us, the whole thing is about our model and art, which at its core is our brands. We don't want bad things tied to our brand, literally a brand risk. The origin of this is kind of troublesome, so we get why people may be upset, maybe feel scammed. The literal brass tacks of it, technically, we were not scammed. We paid for a product and received that product. The unethical part is the process of making that product. Several of us likely view things from a Western perspective, so naturally their process isn't great compared to how other perspectives may view things. It doesn't make it any better. It only spotlights the issue. The company's responses were terrible legalese that basically said, but it's okay here, so there's no problem. That being said, as far as I am concerned, the matter is resolved. We have removed the company and will be rebranding in the sibling community, and will take time to restructure and rebrand going forward.
You know, and it's just, yeah, it's going to be rough, and I expect it's going to be rough for the next probably couple of weeks at least, you know, and I will do what I can to be supportive of my friends and my siblings and stuff. And the only thing that I will say to people is like, listen, I did my research, you're going to have to do your research, honestly, and I will tell you where to find that research, but you still have to be the one to kind of do it if you have questions. Like if you kind of want to find out what you want to find out, by all means.